Welcome everyone to English Today Journey. This is a place where learning English is not only about words and grammar, but also about growing as a person. I am really happy that you are here with me today. If you enjoy learning English and improving yourself, remember to subscribe so you can get new tips every day. Today, I want to talk about something very important. This topic is not only about learning English better, but also about training your mind and your habits. Many people want to improve their lives, but they feel stuck. Have you ever noticed something strange about yourself or others? Very often, we avoid the things that are actually good for us. For example, waking up early can help us feel more productive. Speaking up in a meeting can help us feel confident. Learning a new skill can open new opportunities. Having an uncomfortable conversation can solve problems and improve relationships. We know all of this. We tell ourselves that we want to grow, improve, and become better people. But when the moment comes, we stop. Instead of doing the hard thing, we hesitate. We pick up our phone and start scrolling. We choose something easier and more comfortable. Sometimes, we do nothing at all. This is confusing, isn't it? We are not foolish people. We are smart and logical. We understand that doing difficult things helps us become stronger, more confident, and more capable. We have heard many popular sayings like no pain, no gain, or growth begins outside your comfort zone. These ideas make sense in our minds. But knowing something is not the same as doing it. Understanding with your brain is easier than acting with your emotions. This problem is called avoidance. We want the rewards that come from challenges, but we do not want the discomfort that comes before those rewards. Our minds feel like they are in a battle. On one side is the person we are now. On the other side is the person we want to become. This creates tension inside us. Imagine standing next to a cold swimming pool. You know that if you jump in, you will feel refreshed, proud, and happy afterward. But before you jump, your mind starts talking. It says, "It's too cold. Wait a little longer. Do it later." That voice is mental resistance. Mental resistance is quiet, but powerful. It pushes us towards safety and comfort, even when comfort is the reason we are not growing. I like to think of this as mental gravity. Just like gravity pulls your body down, mental gravity pulls your mind toward habits, routines, and familiar behaviors. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, not to help you grow. It likes predictability and comfort. Trying new things and pushing your limits feels risky to the brain, even when it is good for you. Understanding this is the first step to changing it. Doing difficult things requires energy, courage, and clear intention. That is why we often avoid them, even when we say we want to grow. Our mind looks for comfort and safety instead. But here is a very important question to think about. What if the resistance you feel is not a sign to stop, but a sign to begin? What if that uncomfortable feeling is not a warning of danger, but an invitation to grow? That resistance may be calling you to step over your growth edge. This growth edge is the line between comfort and change. On one side is what feels safe and familiar. On the other side is transformation and improvement. Growth always lives on the other side of that line. Think about your own life for a moment. When was the last time you chose the harder path on purpose? Not because someone forced you, but because you knew it would help you become stronger, wiser, or more confident. For many of us, it has been a long time. Instead, we repeat the same habits every day. We tell ourselves the same stories. We do the same things again and again, even when we know they are not helping us grow. It is important to understand this. You are not lazy. You are not weak. You are human. And being human means you have the ability to change. You can build new habits. You can train your brain. You can change the way you talk to yourself inside your head. Even when growth feels uncomfortable, you still have the power to choose it. This lesson is exactly about that choice. It is about training your brain not only to deal with hard situations, but to move toward them. Maybe you will not love the discomfort itself, but you can learn to love what discomfort gives you: strength, confidence, and progress. Real growth does not come from doing what is easy or comfortable. It comes from that small moment of hesitation when your mind tells you to stop and you decide, just for today, to move forward anyway. That single decision can slowly change your life. Now, let's talk about why discomfort feels so bad. To understand this, we need to look inside the brain. When you understand the science behind discomfort, it becomes much less scary. You begin to see resistance not as an enemy, but as a signal that something good is waiting for you. Your brain is powerful and very complex. But here is something surprising. It is not designed for your long-term growth or happiness. Its main job is survival. It wants to keep you safe, alive, and away from danger. It does not care much about success, productivity, or personal development. Think of your brain as a very advanced survival machine. It prefers what is familiar and predictable. New challenges feel risky to it, even when they are good for you. Once you understand this, it becomes easier to work with your brain instead of fighting it. And that understanding is the key to lasting change. Your brain is always working in the background. It is constantly scanning your environment, looking for danger, avoiding risks, and trying to save energy whenever possible. This is how the human brain has worked for thousands of years. Its main goal is survival. So, what happens when you face a challenge? Imagine you are about to give a presentation in English, maybe at work or in school. Even before you begin, your body reacts. Your heart starts beating faster. Your hands feel sweaty. You feel nervous, uncomfortable, and maybe even a little scared. You might feel exposed, like everyone is watching you closely. Why does this happen? It is because your brain sees the situation as uncertain. Speaking English in front of others involves social risk. There is pressure to perform well. There is also the possibility of making mistakes or feeling embarrassed. To your brain, all of this feels like danger. When this happens, your body activates something called the fight-or-flight response. This is an ancient system that helped our ancestors survive. Long ago, when people heard a noise in the bushes, their brain had to decide quickly, is this a dangerous animal or just the wind? Their body prepared to fight or run away. Today, we do not face wild animals very often. But your brain does not know the difference between a real physical threat and a social or emotional one. A difficult email from your boss, a presentation, or the fear of looking foolish can trigger the same response as a tiger in the wild. When this alarm system turns on, your brain releases stress hormones, such as cortisol. Your breathing changes. Your attention becomes narrow. You focus only on the possible danger. Without even noticing, you start looking for a way out. You want to escape, delay, distract yourself, or avoid the situation completely. You might check your phone, make excuses, or tell yourself you will do it later. This reaction is called mental resistance. Your brain is not trying to harm you. It is trying to protect you. It believes discomfort equals danger. But here is the important truth. Discomfort is not dangerous. It is simply unfamiliar. Doing hard things requires effort, and effort costs mental energy. Scientists call this mental energy cognitive load. Cognitive load is the energy your brain uses to learn new things, make decisions, focus attention, and control emotions. Your brain is intelligent, but it is also very efficient. In a way, it is lazy. It does not want to use more energy than necessary. So when it sees a difficult or unfamiliar task, it often says, maybe not now, or this feels like too much. That is why even when you truly want to improve, you sometimes stop yourself. You delay. You avoid. You choose the easier option. This is not because you are lazy or unmotivated. It is simply how your brain is designed. Your brain loves patterns, routines, and behaviors it already knows well. Familiar actions require less energy. New challenges require more focus and effort. Understanding this can help you stop blaming yourself and start working with your brain instead of fighting it. Once you realize that resistance is just your brain trying to save energy and stay safe, it becomes easier to move forward anyway. Think of your habits and thoughts like paths in your mind. The things you do every day are like well-used hiking trails. They are smooth, easy to walk on, and very familiar. Your brain knows these paths very well, so it likes to stay on them. Doing the same things again and again feels safe and comfortable. Trying something new is very different. It is like cutting your way through a thick jungle. There is no clear path. It feels slow, tiring, and uncomfortable. Your brain does not like this at all. It would much rather stay on the easy trails than use extra energy to create a new one. That is why change feels hard, even when change is good for you. Now, let's talk about dopamine. Dopamine is often called the feel-good chemical, but that is not the full story. Dopamine is mostly about motivation, not just pleasure. Your brain releases dopamine when it expects a reward. This means you can feel motivated even before you reach your goal, simply by moving toward it. But here is the important part. Dopamine does not appear automatically just because something is difficult. Your brain needs to see a clear connection between effort and reward. If your brain believes that your hard work will lead to something meaningful, it releases dopamine. If it does not see that connection, the work feels heavy, exhausting, and unpleasant. This is why meaning is so important. When your brain understands why you are doing something, effort feels lighter. Purpose turns effort into energy instead of stress. When your brain sees value in the challenge, it becomes easier to keep going. When you understand this, you can stop fighting your brain and start working with it. Mental resistance no longer feels like a wall blocking your way. Instead, it becomes a sign that growth is close. Resistance is not proof that you should quit. It is often proof that you are doing something important. The way you talk to yourself inside your mind matters a lot. Your inner voice can increase or destroy your motivation. If you keep thinking things like, "This is pointless," "I'm not good at this," or "Why even try?" your brain does not release much dopamine. Low dopamine leads to low motivation. You feel tired, bored, and stuck, even if you want to improve. But there is good news. You can change this inner story. When you connect effort with something positive, your brain starts to respond differently. If you tell yourself that the challenge will help you grow, learn, or respect yourself more, your brain begins to see discomfort as meaningful. Slowly, your brain starts linking hard work with purpose instead of pain. Discomfort stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like progress. And when that shift happens, real change becomes possible. Take a moment to think about your own life. When was the last time you felt resistance before doing something important? That moment of resistance may not have been a sign to stop. It may have been a sign that growth was waiting just ahead. Think about a time when you felt resistance toward something, but you chose to do it anyway. Afterward, you felt proud of yourself. Maybe you went to the gym, even though you were tired. Maybe you studied instead of watching YouTube. Maybe you had a difficult conversation that you wanted to avoid. In those moments, you were doing more than using willpower. You were actually changing your brain. Each time you choose the hard thing, your brain starts to build new pathways. These pathways slowly teach your brain that effort is worth it. They send a new message. Difficult things can lead to good results. This quiet change is how people slowly begin to enjoy challenges. Not because challenges are easy or instantly fun, but because their brains learn to connect discomfort with growth and growth with meaning. This process does not happen quickly. It takes time, awareness, and repetition. You must be willing to feel awkward, unsure, or even afraid without escaping or giving up. That can feel uncomfortable at first. But science is very clear about this. The more often you face difficult tasks on purpose, the more your brain adapts. Over time, your brain learns something important. It learns that effort is not something dangerous to avoid. Instead, effort becomes something useful to engage with. What once felt scary starts to feel normal. What once felt heavy starts to feel manageable. So the next time you catch yourself procrastinating, hesitating, or thinking too much, try something different. Pause for a moment. Take a slow breath. Notice the resistance inside you. Remind yourself that this feeling does not mean something is wrong. It simply means your brain is trying to protect you. You can even thank your brain for doing its job. Then gently choose to move forward anyway. Your brain may be designed for survival, but you are capable of much more than just staying safe. You are capable of learning, growing, and becoming stronger. Now, let's talk about an idea many people believe without questioning it: comfort versus growth. Many of us grow up hearing messages that make us think these two things are opposites. We are told that you are either relaxing or improving, either resting or working hard, either comfortable or growing. It feels like we must choose only one. Motivational advice often says things like, get out of your comfort zone, or nothing good comes from being comfortable. And yes, there is some truth in this. Growth usually requires challenge. Learning something new often feels uncomfortable at first. But over time, this idea has turned into an unspoken rule: comfort or growth. Pick one. This way of thinking can be harmful. It makes us feel guilty for resting. It makes us think we must always struggle in order to improve.
The truth is more balanced.
Growth does not mean suffering all the time. Comfort is not the enemy of progress. Rest, safety, and calm are important too. Real growth comes from knowing when to challenge yourself and when to recover. When you understand this, you stop seeing discomfort as punishment. You start seeing it as a temporary step toward something better. And when comfort returns after effort, it feels earned, meaningful, and healthy. Growth is not about rejecting comfort forever. It is about learning how to move between comfort and challenge in a smart and kind way. Life is not as simple as choosing between easy and hard, or comfort and discipline. The world is not black and white. In reality, some of the strongest and healthiest growth happens when we find balance. Growth becomes powerful when challenge and ease work together instead of fighting each other. Think about a good workout. When you go to the gym, you do not start by lifting the heaviest weights or running until you collapse. If you did that, you would probably hurt yourself. Instead, you find a level that is slightly difficult but still manageable. This is often called the stretch zone. It is the space just beyond what feels familiar and comfortable. In the stretch zone, your body and mind are challenged, but not overwhelmed. If the effort is too small, nothing changes. If the effort is too much, you get exhausted or burned out. But when the challenge is just right, something special happens. That is where real growth begins. That is where change slowly becomes transformation. Here is something that surprises many people. Building resilience does not mean living in constant struggle. Being strong does not mean pushing yourself all the time without rest. In fact, one of the most important skills for long-term well-being is emotional flexibility. Emotional flexibility means knowing how to move between effort and rest, between tension and relaxation, between focus and letting go. Truly resilient people are not the ones who work nonstop. They are the ones who know when to lean into discomfort and when to lean back into rest without feeling guilty.
You do not have to suffer to grow.
But you do have to stretch. This is an important difference that many people misunderstand. Growth does not require pain, but it does require stepping outside your automatic habits. It requires you to notice when you avoid something simply because it feels new or unfamiliar. Growth starts with awareness and intention. It means paying attention to your inner voice, especially the one that says, "If this feels uncomfortable, it must be wrong." That voice is often trying to protect you, not guide you toward growth. Think about the last time you avoided doing something. Not because it was impossible, but because it felt awkward, uncertain, or unfamiliar. Maybe it was asking a question in English. Maybe it was applying for a job you were not sure you could get. Maybe it was starting a new habit you had been thinking about for a long time. In those moments, the problem was not your ability. It was discomfort. Your brain chose safety over growth. But unfamiliar does not mean bad. Uncomfortable does not mean wrong. Often, it simply means new. When you begin to understand this, you stop judging yourself so harshly. You realize that growth is not about forcing yourself into pain. It is about gently stretching beyond what you already know. One small step at a time. Balance is the key. Push yourself, but also allow rest. Challenge yourself, but stay kind to yourself. When effort and ease work together, growth becomes sustainable. And that is the kind of growth that truly lasts. Send the next part whenever you're ready.